he's bringing on board some phenomenal people, not only in the 808 state, but mainland as well. And so, you know, this guy's going to come up, and fortunately, we're going to start giving away some of these rewards, some of these awards that, you know, people work for, people take action and deserve. So without further ado, my new black shiny jacket man with the 25K jackaroni, Elias Callejo.
Everyone, good evening and aloha! Wow! Whoa, let's not, we don't like soft drinks in Visalus, do we? Alright. I did hear one time that diet is actually worse than a regular Coke Zero, right? Isn't that what you heard? Unless it's Coke Zero. Okay, yeah. Very quick snapshot of who I am in about 30 seconds or so. I was dead broke. I was a C average public high school graduate. I didn't really achieve anything substantial in high school. I just passed by the skin of my teeth. I tried recruiting all of my teachers into my parents' MLM companies. Maybe that's why they passed me, because they felt sorry for me. Joined community college. I went for my first semester. I got put on academic probation because I decided that surfing was more important than homework. And I realized that my teachers didn't care if I was in class or not because I was the one paying, so I got put on academic probation. I came back to Hawaii. One of my goals when I was 19 years old, I told myself I wanted to become a network marketer. I wanted to make millions in the industry. I joined my very first company in 2001, and I made a bunch of money for like a month, and then I got pretty cocky, and then the company shut down, and all my friends that I burned through all said, oh, look now, you know. And I said, bro, I don't care, because I don't care how many years it takes me to do it in this industry, I'm going to make it happen. And 13 companies later, and years, this is a one now, okay? And finally in 2009, I after a few years hiatus of the industry, learned just strictly about marketing and about sales and all that kind of stuff. I came back in the industry in 2009, and I was able to create a full-time income. In 2005, I collected an income of about $18,000. You're looking at a check that we earned that was more than what my wife and I and our 3 children made. Whoa! Back a few years ago. And so here I am today. So now let's catch you up to speed. July 15th or 16th, was it? I went out to Orlando, Florida. Yeah. And the Luceros that you guys met, GJ, Vadiba, Nate, Brandon, East, you know, we all pulled together. I jumped on a plane, went up to Orlando, Florida, and I saw the company. I was going to take their methods and marketing, and I was going to put it into my company, and I was going to use it for my team. And after looking at that, I said, ain't no way I'm going to duplicate that. And you know, the old saying goes, if you can't beat them, join them. And you know, it was a really tough decision. It was a really tough decision. You know, I had close to 6,000 people in our organization in 6 different countries, and pretty much every state in the United States. And when I made the decision to walk away from a pretty healthy income, a lot of people said I was nuts, and they said I wouldn't be able to do it. And I left pretty much every single one of my major leaders back at that company, and I dug in the trenches, and I dug deep, you know. Earned my BMW in 9 days. 60 days later, I was a hit ambassador. I'm close to 600 people in my organization now. And at the last convention, I was in that seat, and I was sitting next to someone who showed me his business report at Visalus, and maybe he shouldn't have, but Chris Maxwell there showed me his business report, and scared the living daylights out of me. Scared the living daylights out of me. Because I saw what he was making with the amount of people that he had in his organization, and what I was making with the amount of people in my organization, and he was making more than me. And I said, wow, this is pretty wild. So I came back home and I got this business launched, and we had a really good time. So, and for those of you who want to hear the real story, we'll hear about later on, but we got to run through. So, I'd like to share a story with you guys, something that, in fact, I love this story. How many of you guys watched Pink Panther before? Pink Panther, right? Okay. Remember Professor Clouseau, right? Remember? No, Inspector Clouseau. Remember the guy? He was always getting into mayhem. He was always getting into mischief, always getting something busted up somewhere. So there's this one scene, he's in a hotel lobby, and there's this dog, okay, that's in the hotel lobby. And then Inspector Clouseau, he goes and he reaches down. I've told this story probably a couple of times, but he reaches down and he asks the hotel lobby clerk, or the front desk guy, whatever you call him. He says, "Is this your dog?" And he goes, "Oh no." He goes, "Does your dog bite?" And the guy goes, "My dog does not bite." And they go, "Oh, does your dog bite?" He asked him again. He goes, "No, my dog does not bite." So then there's a little dog, right? So he reaches down, he pets the dog, and the dog goes, "Rah!" And he just like mangles his glove, right? And he goes, "Oh," he pulled his hand out. And then he said, "I thought you said your dog does not bite." He goes, "My dog does not bite, and that is not my dog." Moral of the story is this. I realized at a pretty young age that a lot of times throughout life, and especially in this industry, we sometimes ask the wrong questions, don't we? And I learned that if we ask the right question or ask a different question, you just might get a different result. And so, you see, sometimes we're going to leave this convention, some of us. And we're going to say, "Man, I'm so excited," and then the balloons, and then the pizza, and then the checks, and then the science, and then the this, and then we got to go director, and then we got to break director, and then we got to find this and that, and we have all these things in our head. And then in a few days from now, we're going to say, "Okay, so who am I going to talk to now?" Wrong question. Game over. You see, instead of asking yourself the question that's unempowering, like, "Well, who should I talk to?" No. You got to ask yourself a different question. Well, what type of group of my friends do I want to approach today? Do I want to approach my church people group? Or do I want to approach my school people group today? Do I want to approach my chicken list group today? Oh, this is so fun. It's like a game. For me, I don't know, I'm weird like that, right? I was like, I'm going to pick out for my chicken list group. Why am I not making any money in this business? No, that's not the right question. The question is more so, what aren't you doing? What are you not implementing in your business why you're not making money in network marketing? Yeah. Well, no one wants to come to my challenge parties. No, the question is more, well, what play am I not running correctly that your ambassadors and your leaders taught you to run? Which is why no one's showing up to the challenge party. Well, how come, I'm never, my customers don't stick. No, it's more like, well, why didn't you send them a little, card saying thank you for the business? And I'm going to save you a little money on shipping next month, which is going to help you retain your customers, right? That's the question you want to ask. My friends, here's what it is. We're going to leave this convention, and we're going to get pretty fired up. We're going to leave fired up. But when you get home, there's no one else around you. You right now are amongst like-minded individuals. You go home, you might be the only person for months that has the same mindset as you. You better really start thinking today what type of questions you're going to start habitually asking yourself. You really better start thinking about that, because when no one else is around, when Modibo and Nate and Elias and whatever is not around, or when your presidentials, internationals aren't around, when the calls aren't happening 24/7, what questions are you asking yourself? And instead of, well, I don't know who to talk to, or how do I go director? No, it's more like, well, how do I get to director faster? How do I get to break a director faster? And I'm going to end it just like that, guys. But here's the thing I want to do. I want to do something a little different. Because, everyone sees me and they say, well, dude, what's the secret? What do you do? And I got to admit, I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for this person I'm going to bring up here. I was about ready to throw the towel in. I wasn't going to do Visalus. I was going to stay with my past company when I went back to Kona. And my wife looked at me and said, Elias, what are you going to do with that information now that you have? And I said, babe, I don't know what I'm going to do. And she says, you better suck it up. And you better do what your gut is telling you. And you better run. And you better run fast. And I said, but babe, what about the income thing? I said, Elias, who's guaranteeing you the income in your company anyway? You might be dead tomorrow for all we know. Because there are no guarantees in life. There are no guarantees in life. You know? And my wife told me, Elias, if we're going to struggle so that we know that we have a future set up for the next 50, 80, 100 years that we can pass on to our posterity and struggle for a bit, I'm willing to do that. So as my wife, Gwen, why I'm here. And a lot of people ask me, what is the secret, Elias? I'm going to tell you right now, I have the advantage because that's my secret weapon. All right, I want to bring you up just for a second, for a couple short minutes, and just kind of share our thoughts, because everyone always hears from me, you know? And we got to get out of here, so we got a couple of minutes. Anyhow, everyone, Elias Callejo. Oh my gosh, she said she's scared. No,
Well, give me some love, I guess. Oh gosh, you know, it's no real secret. I mean, put our trust in God. We love our family. We love ourselves. We support the community. And we have faith, undying faith in our company. And when Elias was trying to make those decisions, and he told me about everything in Visalus, and he called me from the convention. He's like, I'm trying to play it cool here, like I'm not interested. Play it cool here, this is getting hard. Google Ryan Blair. So I Google him, and I'm like, who is this? Kind of looks like a rock star. And then I'm reading about his story. I'm like, wow, he sounds a lot like Elias. Okay, so I kind of look into this company and the dynamics of it, and they go, oh, they like the internet. See, he got dogged everywhere he went in his last company because he liked the internet. They have cell phones. They have amazing tools. He got dogged in his last company because he liked to implement tools. And I said, this is starting to sound a little more like Elias than I think he even knows. So, in short, he asked me, and he was running his mouth like he likes to do. Just going a mile a minute, and I stopped him and I said, Elias, I've thought about it. I think you would be foolish if you don't join this company. And like he said, I see the present is fine where we're at, but the future is not so fine. It's dim. I can't see a future with the company we're in. How many people do you know out there that are in jobs where presently it's fine, but in the future they could get laid off? Or maybe the future in 40 years when they work their butt off, they get laid off. Like my dad, you know? They're real people. So I said, this company might be hard right now, but the future looks bright. In a recession, it looks bright. I'm having hope again. Elias is like a kid. It's funny. I mean, yes, our marriage, company, no company, different company. If you like roller coasters, you'd love being married to Elias. Disclaimer, but they didn't tell me that. But his mom did say no returns.
All sales final.
Challenge. And I married him. But no, the thing about kids is they don't know what no means, right? You ever tell a kid no? They just ask you a million different ways, right? Have you ever been pitched by Elias? He'll just ask you a million different ways.
Find the right question.
Kids, they are sad 1 minute and happy again, right? You can hurt a kid, or he trips, he falls, he's like crying his eyes out, and he gets up, he's running around. He gets punched by his brother, cries, I hate him. What does he do? He goes and plays with his brother, right? Same with Elias. You can't knock him down, and if you do, it won't be for long. So another good thing about kids is they have faith. They believe. They don't know what it's like not to believe. They'll believe anything you tell them, and they put their heart in it. And with Visalus, I started to believe again, and I saw that light in his eye for belief was dimming in that company he was in. It was going out, and that's not him. I did not want to see that light go out. I did not want to be blamed for that. I didn't want him to do that to himself. So I looked bad, but I told him, you'd be foolish if you don't do this. So that's the real Elias, really. And he's got great parents, and that's why he is the way he is today.
Also, my team, everything out of them, and every single one of you guys is beautiful.